Sup peeps, my name's Ian. I sell books on eBay. Only today I've got no sales to show you. It's like 10 o'clock in the morning and nothing at all. So we've had 2 weeks of really good sales and now it's kind of back to normal. Yesterday was distinctly below average and so far today, nada. So eBay's back to normal, thank goodness. I was getting a wee bit worried there, getting sales in. But I thought I'd talk about something a wee bit different today. We're heading towards summer. Doesn't feel like it. Feels a bit 2 degrees outside at the moment. There's a big storm on its way to batter Scotland, so we'll see how that goes over the next 24 hours. But we are kind of getting towards summer. And you know, I've been looking through what I've got to read over the next few weeks and months and working out what they are for, each book, you know, where, when, why, how. For me, it will be different for everybody, I'm quite sure, but there's a few different types of book that I like to read at different times. One of those types I don't do anymore because I no longer partake in the activity that allowed it. But there are, for me, kind of 3 different areas of reading, shall we say that. The first one, which is what I no longer do, was the commuting book. So I used to have to get the bus in and out of Glasgow city centre 5 days a week. It could be 25 minutes in the bus, it could be an hour in the bus, depending on traffic, you know, each way. And I had my commuting books, so something that I would quite happily pick up. The chapters and everything seemed to be designed that you would read a chunk in 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes, etc. So you could pick it up, you could read it for 20 minutes and put it straight back down and get straight back into, you know, simple, straightforward, easy reading stories. You know, Michael Connelly, Geoffrey Deaver, Lee Child, various bits and pieces. The second type is the good books. The books that I know I am going to be cooking, stirring the dinner, still reading them as I go along. The ones where I want to get completely immersed in them. Now, I can read them when I'm sitting in the bus as well. I have done. But it's always, you know, the journey passes like that because you become so immersed in these stories. And it's always I'll just go to the next stop and read a few more pages type feeling. So it's always getting dragged away from them. So we'll try to keep them for when I can just sit down, you know, dark winter nights, get the log fire burning or the radiators on and just, you know, get immersed for hours on end. George Martin, great example of that. Stephen King, those are my kind of go-tos for that type of thing. And then the third is the summer books, which have a bit of a crossover with the commuting books, if I'm perfectly honest. You know, you can, for me, it's usually sit out in the back garden in the sun for a couple of hours, or if you're away somewhere on the beach, by the pool, on your balcony, whatever it might be there, where again, you're just looking for something nice and easy and relaxing, but if you doze off or get distracted or you put it down to do something else, again, you can jump straight back into. So again, great books for that, you know, Lee Child, Michael Connelly, Geoffrey Deaver, to name but only 3. What else have we got up here that fits that? Oh, there's hundreds. There's hundreds. Dozens and dozens of different authors. But I've been looking at what I've got stacked up, stuff that I've had sitting for quite some time and I haven't got to yet, and thinking, right, well, that's when I'm going to read that. And one of those is a series of books by Gregg Hurwitz, Orphan X. I've read the first, I've got the wee Amazon screen up here beside me so I can keep track of what I'm talking about. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've read the first 5 and there's 9 in the series. 9, that's not 9, that's 5. I've read the first 5 and there's 9 in total in the series so far. I've got 6, 7 and 8, and number 9's quite recent, so I haven't picked up a copy of that yet. And these are going to be my summer reads. These are going to be sitting out in the garden and just banging through the pages. So hopefully in the next few weeks, may get some sunny days and I'll be able to get started on them. But for those who aren't familiar with Gregg Hurwitz, Orphan X, that's the first one. I've got a few of these in the eBay shop, so if anybody's desperate, go and pick them up. Otherwise, Amazon's a wonderful place to go. But Orphan X, who is Orphan X? Well, Jack Reacher, how he's like huge and he wanders everywhere and he can destroy everything and anything that he touches. He's always out for the good guys and he takes no recompense. Well, Orphan X is almost the opposite of that. Kinda. That's probably not the best way of describing it. But he's an average bulk guy. He lives in a luxury apartment. He's completely anonymous, unlike Mr. Reacher. But he has the same set of skills. He'll just destroy everything and anyone that gets in his way. So the government trained assassin who's got fed up with that and has decided to do a wee bit of freelance work. So he's got so much money, he doesn't care about that, he'll just go out and help others who need it. It's a really nice setup and premise that they've got within the books there. So if you like Jack Reacher, if you like Lee Child, you'll probably love the Orphan X books. Can't recommend them highly enough for that. The action, the violence, it's spot on for that type of story. You always get that sense of satisfaction when the baddies go down, you get stuck into them. Really nice kind of backstory and build up, which is something that the Lee Child books don't have. It's just, don't get me wrong, I love Lee Child books. Jack Reacher's just the man. He goes in, he breaks things and he walks away. Based on the books, I think he's got to be one of America's top serial killers. He's not doing it for anything else. He just goes about and murders people. Orphan X probably kills a lot more people, let's be honest, injures several more, but he's got a bit more kind of depth within his world. So with Lee Child and Jack Reacher, each book is its own little world. So he goes somewhere and he does something, and that world usually gets created quite well. With the Orphan X series, it's much more of a world building enterprise. Each book adds to that environment rather than it just being a new standalone piece, which means, again, unlike, I'm just going to compare this to Lee Child all the way. Lee Child, you can pick up any Jack Reacher book and read it and you don't have to have read anything else. There might be the odd wee reference to things that have happened in previous books, but they're not relevant to the story. Orphan X, a wee bit more so. You could still pick up any one of these and read it on its own, but there'll be bits in it that don't make a huge amount of sense unless you've read some of the previous titles. So start with Orphan X. Highly recommend it. Find out what Evan Smoke is up to. It's not as good a name as Jack Reacher. That's one place where it loses out. But yeah, start with Orphan X. So what is it? Trained to kill, now he helps those in trouble. Evan Smoke was an orphan raised in a secret government programme. When he lost faith in it, he got out, and now he uses his training to help the desperate and deserving who have nowhere left to run, if you can find him. But no one escapes their past forever. Someone is on Evan's trail, someone with the same skills and training, and who knows the weaknesses of the boy who became Orphan X. So that's what it says on the back of the first book. And that's pretty much what you get. But like I say, it does have a bit more depth, and it goes throughout the series, it goes to some very interesting places. Let's just say that. Rather than it just being, let's beat up and kill the local goons, it goes up a few levels. It gets in there. Plus, they're all quite nice covers, although definitely Reacher-esque. The kind of the lone man figure is quite a common theme. Prodigal Son, I think that's... No, I've got Dark Horse, then Prodigal Son, and then The Last Orphan to read myself. That's just what I thought I would talk about today. It's a great character. They're easy reads, real page turners. When I start one of these, if you get disturbed, so if you've only got 20 minutes, you can read it for 20 minutes and put it down, pick it up again a week later, and you've not lost any of it. But also with these ones, you can sit and read the whole book in one go quite easily. It's really good momentum. It really, really works through. It's a wee bit cliched with some of the relationship stuff going on, but that's because it just seems to have been crammed in because it's expected, rather than it being any essential part of the story. The handful of main characters are really well defined. Secondary characters, you know, the odd wee love interest, etc., pretty two-dimensional. Like most male action writers, they don't write women well. They're just in there to give the antagonist or hero an excuse to do certain things, which is always a wee bit frustrating, because there's some writers who absolutely nail that and you become invested in everyone. With these ones, you know, the woman who lives nearby, who's the single mother and has the little son who worships our hero, it's all a bit, yeah mate, that ain't real life. But then it's about a government assassin who can kill anybody he wants with his pinky nail, so it's not really realistic anyway. But if you put that bit aside, they really are absolutely brilliant page turners, excellent thrillers. If you're looking for a summer read and you like Lee Child, give it a go. Let's see, this is not an advert or a promo in any way. I do have a handful of these listed in the eBay store, so if you can find that link wherever it is in the description, you might be able to go and grab a couple if you're interested. But pick them up on Amazon and Tesco and wherever the hell you like, so that they can be read. If anyone else has read Gregg Hurwitz, let me know what you thought. He's also written a lot of standalone books, which again Lee Child has not done. And the standalone books, the ones that I've read, I've maybe read 5 or 6 of them, are the same. They're, you know, good, well-paced thrillers. Maybe a bit. Who could I compare it to for? I don't know. I want to say Harlan Coben, but it's not. He writes a bit like Harlan Coben, but they're not that kind of book. Maybe. Nah, I don't know. But they're all slightly techie thrillers usually, so maybe Michael Crichton-esque. Nowhere near Michael Crichton, like storytelling ability, concept ideas. But yeah, they're all in there, so give it a shot. If I keep having slow sales days, I'm probably going to do this a wee bit more often. I'm just going to pick an author that I've read and have a talk about their books. I've got, let's say, near enough, well, books 1 to 8 in a set. I just don't know where the heck they are. But this one that I've just picked up and listed, that's why I've got the first book there. This other couple are sitting in the pile waiting to go. Let's see, I've got a copy of Dark Horse, which is number 7 in the series. Which, oh no, so that means Prodigal Son. This is my next one to read. Then Dark Horse, but I picked up a hardcover copy of that. It had no dust jacket, and I thought that's good enough to read. So I've got that sitting. Then on to The Last Orphan. But if you want to read through the books in series, Orphan X is the first one. Then you've got The Nowhere Man, which is his other name. Hellbent, Out of the Dark, Into the Fire. And it's Out of the Dark and Into the Fire is where it kind of goes up a wee level on the not beating up local baddies, but, you know, going up the food chain ever so slightly. And then let's say on to Prodigal Son, which I am looking forward to. Oh, a woman gets in touch claiming to be his mother. We'll see what happens with that. Anyway, that's those books. If you fancy a good thriller, you know, the invincible superhero, kind of anti-hero antagonist, give it a shot. If you don't like that, well, you've probably not watched this far into the video anyway, so what the hey. Anyway, that's all I've got for now, so see ya, love ya, bye!